What's up, party people? I know it's been a minute. Been dealing with some different situations, life. Uh, it's graduation time, so I've been dealing with some family. Along with that, a couple of technical issues. Uh, I did a 40-minute video about the Jussie Smollett court papers, the original 264 pages. But 2 days after I put that video up, disappeared, gone. I ain't take it down. Can't tell you what happened to it. Other than that, every time I try to put a video up, like no matter what device I use or what app I use, it says upload error. Not that I'm saying that's a big problem. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, I'll figure it out. Like right now, I'm using a YouTube video capture. So hopefully this will work. Because it's YouTube's. So hopefully this will work. But real quickly, I'm going to go back and try to touch on some of the videos that I did do. Like I said, as for the Jussie Smollett thing, I'm done. All done. Completely done. Because if you're looking for anybody to get any legal ramifications from that, it's not going to happen. They let everybody go, like I said before. They let everybody go. Jussie gone, brother's gone. They ain't going to do nothing to Kim Fox. And if anything, might hit her with a fine. That's about it. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time before that's a fart in the wind. So I'm pretty much done with that one. Not that, like I said, not that I was looking for anybody to do any type of jail time, but just I wanted to find out the truth, the actual factual truth. Did this dude lie or not? Like, I still think he did lie, but then again, the CPD lied, and never mind. I'm getting back into it. See. Anywho, one of the other things I touched on was Officer Smiley and Mr. Atkinson. If you're unfamiliar with them, that was the video about the cop harassing a student picking up garbage around his dorm. And pretty much the thing I said about that is, complying. Everybody always says, oh, well, just comply. Just comply. It's more than just complying. It's not just complying. Like, that's not, like, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Hold on. As soon as Officer Smiley walked up to Mr. Atkinson, if you notice, if you saw the video, one of the first things he said was, it looks like you're working. No shit. Yeah, you just answered your question. Because according to Mr. Smiley, or Officer Smiley, he was investigating a possible trespassing. But your first clue to what this man is doing is it looks like you're working. Okay, so then Mr. Atkinson gives him his student ID. Now, most student IDs have an expiration date. Some might not, but most do. Now, if he has a student ID, a valid student ID, and he's on school property, which the dorm is there, so that's school property, once again, trespassing out the window. Investigation should be over. There is no need for any of that went on, that extra 20 minutes or so. That was so unnecessary. But the reason why that went on was because Officer Smiley felt disrespected. And that's what it was. Officer Smiley felt that he was disrespected by that man, and he was not going to let it go until he felt justified. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, if you've seen the whole video, three times, they tell Officer Smiley, we've ID'd him, he's a student here, he's working. Officer Smiley's not satisfied. Even when the cop comes up to him and tells him, your partner ID'd him, he is a student, he is working, we're going to give him back his ID and we're going to go. What did Officer Smiley do? Okay. and then cuts the audio off on his body cam. And then he ain't cut the audio back on until they were pretty much done with the interaction. So your fellow officer just said, give him his ID, we're going to go. Why did Officer Smiley cut off the body cam? Cut off the audio on the body cam. What was the need for that? I'll tell you what the need was. Because he felt disrespected. And he was arguing against his fellow officer about letting him go. Because he felt like he ain't have his date of birth. Everybody around you just told you they know and verified who this guy is. But Officer Smiley feels disrespected because he ain't have Mr. Atkinson's date of birth. It wasn't about complying. It was about obedience. And that's the difference. Law enforcement is here to protect and serve, to uphold the law and catch criminals. That's it. Now, that's a lot. But what I mean by that that's it, is they're not overseers. They are not overseers. Their authority kicks in an emergency situation. It has to be either an emergency or a valid suspicion of a crime for an officer's authority to kick in. Meaning, an officer just can't walk up to you and start barking commands. Like, that makes no sense. Like, he can't just walk up to you and start barking commands. Like, okay, example. Let's say a guy's talking to a cop, right? They're sitting there just talking, drinking their coffee, whatever. And the cop looks over to the guy and says, get on the ground. Get on the ground for what? Because I said so, get on the ground. I'm not getting on the ground. Why should I get on the ground? Because I said so. I gave you a command. Are you resisting? Get on the ground. I am not getting, why am I getting on the ground? Now you're reaching for your gun. Why are you reaching for your gun? Well, the cup in your hand can be used as a weapon. Does that make sense? Makes no sense, right? Or I'll give you another one. Let's say you're standing in line getting food and the cop in front of you says, orders all this food and says, this guy right here is going to pay for it. What guy? I ain't paying for it. You're going to pay for it. Both those times, cop gave a command. Now, if you follow through with those commands, is that compliance or is that just obedience? There's a difference. That's why for all those that keep saying, oh, just comply, it's not just compliant. There's a difference between a cop is looking for compliance and when a cop is looking for obedience. For compliance, there has to be a valid suspicion of a crime, an emergency, or a situation where he needs to take control, de-escalate, defuse, or get everybody to safety. That's when a cop's authority kicks in. He can't just walk around like he's your daddy or he's your boss telling you what to do. And there's a difference. And in Mr. Atkinson's case, I don't know why I can't say that. Mr. Atkinson was just working. And then you got this cop just coming up there. Now he want to give a bunch of commands talking about he's being detained. For what? Where's the emergency? Where's the crime? Like I said, your investigation into trespassing is over, buddy. So why are we still having this conversation? So comply for what? It's not just about complying. It's about certain officers feel that they are disrespected and look for obedience. And they mix that obedience with compliance. But like I said, cops are not overseers. They're law enforcement. Even with the new one, with the Phoenix, about all them cops rushing that car because that little girl walked out with a Barbie doll. A little girl walked out with a Barbie doll. So all that was necessary. Pulling guns. Oh, I'm going to put a cap in you. Oh, I'm going to blow your head off. Over a shoplifting call. Over a shoplifting. And that's another reason why I've kind of been slowing up. Because, excuse me. I don't want this to be a cop bashing channel. I am not a cop basher. But what I told you, I am for the people. I will talk about injustices. I will talk about I can't even get the words out. But I will talk about all unethical and unjust things that police officers do. Like, okay, this is where I'm at with this, all right? Now, regardless of what profession it is, whether it's janitor, lawyer, teacher, cop, congressman, president, accountant, you hold each person professionally to a certain standard in doing their job. Everybody's supposed to do their job courteously and professionally, all right? So I just hold police officers to that same type standard. Like I said, you are not overseers. Cops are law enforcement. So anytime I see an injustice by a police officer where it wasn't about compliance, that officer was looking for obedience, then that's not right, because that is not a police officer's job. But there are so many cases. Like, doing these videos, I go through all the different cop-involved shootings, cop-involved incidents, and there are so many. I mean, all over the country. All over the country, there are so many. And the thing is, the police department is going to say, well, it wasn't about race. What? That's all it is with us. That's all it is. It's about race. Because you mean to tell me Officer Smiley patrolled his whole area. So all the people you seen out there, all the students he might have seen on that campus, all the people he passed by, the most suspicious person he saw was the person holding a pail and a garbage grabber walked around picking up trash, who just happened to be black. Really? That was the most suspicious person you saw that day. The one black guy who's picking up garbage with a pail and a garbage grabber. But it had nothing to do with race. Man. And then a lot of people say, oh, well, y'all need to get over it. Get over it? How we gonna get over it if you won't ever get over it? If the people are being oppressed, are still being oppressed, how the hell are they gonna get over it? There is no getting over it. As long as you keep trying to oppress the people, there is no getting over it. We'll get over it when y'all get over it. You get over it, then we'll get over it. But as long as you keep seeing blackness as a threat, if a 45-year-old woman on her back is a threat, or a 12 or 15-year-old kid, because they're black, is a threat, then you need to be tucked behind a desk job, dude. Because you are obviously in a wrong line of work. Obviously. If a black kid running away is a threat, A little girl with a Barbie is a threat. What's the common denominator in all that? What is the common denominator in all that? But we need to get over it. Law enforcement are not overseers. They are just that, law enforcement. If there's no emergency, no valid suspicion of a crime, they need to move the hell on. But because some cops feel that they are overseers, the second they feel disrespected, now they got to get vindicated somehow, some way. And that's pretty much what a lot of these cases come down to, because a cop felt he needed to be vindicated because he felt disrespected, that he wasn't obeyed. And I try not to lose hope. I really do. I really do. I really do try not to lose hope. But I gotta tell you, I'm losing hope because nobody's doing nothing. Nothing. I mean, everything they talk about in the news, do they ever talk about anything they're doing to try to change it? Never. Never. What are they talking about now? Don't cough around the president. Who the fuck cares? What the fuck? What? Oh, my God. Stick to the subject. Stick to the subject. Yeah. So, that's how I feel about that. In that, I did another video about race relations, and what I just talked about kind of tapped into what I said about that video. And I don't know, baby. I don't know. You tell me. Like, what do you think would help the relationship between law enforcement and civilians? Like, because I say it's training and conditioning. And what I mean by conditioning is you cannot take a police officer who's never been around black people or Hispanic people and then put him in a precinct predominantly black or predominantly Hispanic area and think he's going to work this shit out. If he's never been around them type people before, he is not going to work that shit out. So, to me, I think a lot of it has to do with training, how to get along with certain people, how to actually de-escalate or defuse a situation before grabbing your gun. Like, I understand it's a tough job. It's a thankless job. A lot of them really don't get paid well. A lot of them, their salaries are like that because of all the overtime. Because there's a lot of precincts who can't find officers. Nobody's looking to do that job. So I understand all that. But, like, I know there's a few people out trying to add multicultural training to their training process. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm pretty much out of hope. And but only other video I was talking about was the Central Park 5. But I think them boys are getting their just rewards. Like, it's ridiculous what happened to them. Like, you could say, what was they doing in the park, or whatever they were doing in the park, why were they there doing it? But does that mean that just because they was in the park doing whatever they were doing, they should get hit with an assault and rape that they definitely did not do because the NYPD felt pressured and had to close the case quick. So you just picked up these first 5 kids, 14 to 15. You couldn't find at least another rapist? This dude committed a rape somewhere. Let's just hit him with it. Nah, you got 5 teenagers and just pinned it on them. But we need to get over it, right? We need to get over it. Yeah, that's about it for now. To tell you the truth, I don't know what other video I'm gonna be doing. Might be anything. But closing this one out, let me know what you think. Let me know, because like I said, a lot of people say training is the answer. A lot of people don't think training is the answer. A lot of people think a tighter vetting and their criteria that they use to recruit officers need to be looked at. To be honest with you, I don't have a 100% answer. So maybe it will take all of us to come up with something. So if you got the time, let me know what you think. All right. Till next time, y'all be blessed, be safe.